Hi, I'm Scott Wolf, and I want to share with you some things about the 1989 Disney Legends Awards ceremony, which honored Ub Iwerks and Walt Disney's 9 Old Men. This is one of my treasures. It's a program from the 1989 Disney Legends Awards ceremony. Now, I was working at TV animation in 1989 at the Disney Studios, and it was such a special time to be there. I loved working for Disney, and nothing was wasted on me, including this ceremony honoring these real legends of Disney. Now, the Disney Legends Awards ceremony has a neat history. It goes back to 1987. What happened was there was a new movie coming out, The Return of the Shaggy Dog, which was a sequel to the 1950s version starring Fred MacMurray. And the TV marketing people, this was going to be part of the Disney Sunday movie. And the TV marketing people thought, why don't we have Fred MacMurray, who was in the original movie, come out and put his handprints in cement and become a Disney legend, and we'll invite the press, and it'll be a good publicity event. Well, Michael Eisner was new as the CEO and really getting into the history of Disney also, and he thought, why not start a ceremony and a program which will honor individuals who really made an impact in Disney history. So it was Jeff Hoffman and Randy Bright who started thinking about how they would do this ceremony, and they started thinking about other award ceremonies and what they can do, and they came up with the Disney Legend Ceremonies. Jeff stayed with this until for 21 years, actually. And it was something that was done every single year, but it started out on the studio lot. This was not a public event other than the press. It was for employees like me. And I've got to tell you, when I walked away from a Disney Legends Awards ceremony, I was so happy to be a part of Disney. Not that I wasn't already appreciating it, but you know, when you're there hearing stories from the people who worked with Walt, this was the earliest times I got to hear those stories, and it was very inspirational. So for the first Legends ceremonies, now let me say with Fred MacMurray, it's just him. It went great. He put his handprints in the cement. But for the next one, they really wanted to go back to the roots of the Disney company. So Ub Iwerks, let me show you in here. Each page in this program shows each person who is inducted as a Disney legend. He was there from the beginning, even before Mickey Mouse, and of course a huge part of creating Mickey Mouse with Walt. The ceremony was hosted by Michael Eisner and Roy Disney, and that's who signed this for me. That's Roy O. Disney's son. Roy O. Disney was Walt's brother. This is Roy E. Disney. So the people who were inducted into the ceremony were Ub Iwerks and the 9 Old Men. So there were only 4 of these people still living, and one of them was Mark Davis. And Mark was my very favorite artist. I loved not only the characters that he created and designed, like Tinkerbell and Cruella de Vil and so many more, but he was an animator going all the way back to Snow White. Although he was an assistant animator on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, he did get to animate one scene. And he went on to develop so much for Disneyland and the Disney parks. He did so much for the Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean and the Jungle Cruise and It's a Small World. And when you ride them today, you're seeing his gags and his scenes that were brought to 3 dimensions. I got to become friends with Mark after this and ended up going to his house and hearing stories, and some of them I recorded. Another one who was honored as a Disney legend that day was Ollie Johnston. Now, Ollie and his best friend, Frank Thomas, were known as Frank and Ollie. It was never Ollie and Frank. It was never anything but Frank and Ollie. In fact, there was even a Mickey Mouse short where there's a monster where they named it Frank and Ollie. But Frank and Ollie together, they created the book that's still so well respected as one of the foremost authorities on animation. It's called Disney Animation, The Illusion of Life. Here, let me show you a picture of Frank. And you could see I got each one to sign their picture for me. So this is just such a treasure for me. Here's Frank's page right here. 2 of the greatest animators that ever lived. And then here's Ward Kimball. He was a zany one. In fact, when he did his handprints in the cement, he put down 5 fingers and then he put another. So if you look carefully, it looks like he has 12 fingers. And even some of his animation was zany. He did 2 Whistle, Plunk, and Boom, and It's Tough to Be a Bird. And they were just really different. And in fact, they both won Academy Awards, but really different. And he also worked on some of the theme park stuff. Ward did a lot on World of Motion for Epcot. So these people just had such long and rich histories with Disney. I want to show you some pictures that I took that day. I always had my camera. I always realized the importance of being at Disney and always kept my camera around. So here's the sign in front of the Studio Theater, Disney Legends Award. This is the setup in front of the theater. You can see the chairs. That's where the families and the honorees would be coming in. And if you see, there's Michael Eisner and Roy Disney. So the MCs of the event are standing there waiting to go on. And they even had the Disneyland band. It was always just a full, wonderful performance. Here's Roy talking in the ceremony and Donald Duck. Here's Mark with Pinocchio there. Here's Ward when he got his award. Here's Frank getting his award. And here's Ollie. Now, I've got to tell you, I've become a much better photographer, and these pictures really are not that great, but at least they give you a little glimpse into what it was like at this incredible ceremony. Here's an interesting glimpse. The posterior of the artists. In fact, I wrote on here, back then, the 9 old men worshiping Michael Eisner. It kind of looked like that to me. But after this, they brought the press and the photographers to the other side, so you were photographing their faces instead of their other sides. But this is where they're actually putting their handprints in the cement. The handprints today are in the Disney Legends Plaza. It's a different location. It's no longer in front of the theater, but they've taken the casts of the handprints and signatures, and they have them in bronze, and it's just beautiful. This for me is history. Here they are, Walt Disney's 9 old men with Roy and Michael in there, getting their awards. True history. Here's their fresh cement right after they put their handprints and their signatures into the cement. Now, one of the neat things was that it was such a nice kind of small, intimate event that you could just go up to these people and talk to them. So here's a picture of Ward just talking to people and signing autographs. Here's Roy, and I believe he was signing my program at that moment, and I took that picture. And then the last one I have from the event is where I met Mark, and I handed the camera to someone, and it changed my life truly, because we became friends, and I got to know his wife Alice, who's also a Disney legend, and just did costumes for so many of the attractions that you love. The last thing I want to show you, this was not from the ceremony, but I was in Disneyland for the 35th anniversary rededication of Disneyland, which was an incredible event, and I saw Frank and Ollie there. I had just met them a few months earlier at the Disney Legends ceremony, so I went over and reintroduced myself, and as always, I had my camera with me, and I asked if I could take this picture with them, and they graciously agreed. I made an 8x10 of them, and I wanted them to sign it, and I knew at the time that they were still coming over to the studio, and they were going to the archives a lot. So I kept this photo, and when I found out that they were going into the archives, I ran over and I got it signed, and you could see they put a little arrow next to each of their names. But it's just another one of my treasures. And that's just some stuff about the 1989 Disney Legends ceremony and some truly amazing people.